Good evening, guys. Today is the 18th of September, Monday, a little bit after close of the market. Wanted to give you a quick update and talk about one stock and go through our five-step process. The markets today were mostly flat with the Dow, NASDAQ, and the S&P 500 mostly unchanged. The S&P 500 was about 3 points, which is 0.07%. NASDAQ was about 2 points, which is 0.01%. And the Dow was about about 6 points, 0.02%. So you can mostly call this a flat market. If you look at it overall, you can see there was not too much green except for Apple, and there was some red, including Tesla to a certain extent. If you see it, some of the red was in the drug and pharmaceutical space, but overall a very quiet kind of a market. It went up, went down, didn't move too much. One of the stocks that showed up in my screens is a company called Getty Images. GETY is the ticker symbol. So let's go through our five-step process, see what we come up with, and see where we might think of a position or maybe ignore it. So the company actually was a SPAC, a special purpose acquisition company that went public somewhere in the July timeframe of 2022. So almost about a year and a couple of months ago. And since then, it launched pretty high on the first day, went up all the way to 25, and then consistently been down since then, kind of consolidated. So this is the long-term view. So if you look at it overall, went up pretty heavy on the first month itself. And then after that, for 3 months, 4 months, just kept coming down, consolidated during the middle period, hit an absolute low bottom, I would call it, in the 3.5 range. And in the last 1 month, or a little bit more than a month, has actually been going up. So it's broken through a bunch of these, if you will, resistances and support. So let's just quickly draw and understand what does this look like and try and figure out what might be. The first thing you want to do is to look at the overall trend. So this looks like it's pretty much in a zone, but it has come out of this one zone. If you still want to draw it, you could draw a very high level, but this is definitely one ultimate support area, and it has to go through the second resistance area, which is this one, which you can see at the top right here, right? It's in the 8.25 zone. Stock is right now at 7.08. At the highest monthly level, this is one support, this is one resistance, but it hasn't gone up that much during monthly support and resistance, so we'll have to move it a little bit more up. Support looks like on a monthly basis, there is support for it even in the 5.78 zone, I would say. And the resistance, there's quite a bit of resistance even here right now, where it is at the moment in the 7.32 zone. But the realistic first step would probably be in the 7.79 or even close to 8 zone. So we're going to keep the other one over there. So where is it on the long term? After going down quite a bit and consolidating, it seems to be on a monthly upward trend, but I'm not going to call it monthly upward yet. This is still what I'm going to call as within the sideways position. So if you look at it overall, it's been moving in a sideways position for most parts in the last, starting from October 22. So about 1 year, it's been mostly between 8 and 4. So almost up 100% in the last 1 year, but still within the zone. So that's at a very high level. Let's go to the weekly chart. There's quite a bit you can see now on the weekly chart. So now that you know, in a longer term position, it's still within a box. I'm going to remove that box. You know this, there's resistance at 825. Actually, there seems to be even quite a bit of resistance here, which is just at the 7.16, about 8 cents away from where it is. So it's going to have to go through this resistance. It's been on a if you look at it on a weekly basis, 3 weeks to almost 4 weeks of consistent candles going green. So that's a good sign. It's broken out of this resistance. It's broken out of this resistance. So it's broken out of quite a few resistances in the $5 zone, in the $6 zone, and moved up all the way to the 708 zone. So it's got resistance still. If it goes through this resistance in the 804 zone, which it possibly could, but it's going to take another 10-15% up from there, then it's got quite a lot of room to go all the way up to the $10 mark and even up again to the $13 mark. So we'll take one step at a time, though. What does it look like on the monthly? It looks like it is a little bit of a, I wouldn't call it more than just a bottom that has been forming over the last few months. If you look at it and draw it out, this is what looks like a bottom that has been forming. But of course, there's a double top here. And so this has also been 1, 2, It's topped over here. So the band it is right now is a triple top. So look at this. In the October 22 timeframe, it tried to reach and move over the 694, 708 zone. Again, it tried it again in January, go above that, failed. It tried again in the April timeframe, failed. March timeframe, failed. And then now it is trying again in the September timeframe. So it could go down from here. So you got to be aware of that. In the short term to medium term, you've got to be aware on a weekly basis that this is a big resistance point. It could go down from here. It's done a good job moving up here, but it's built a good base. It could go down here from this $7 zone, in which case we'll have to watch out for possibly something that will look like a head and shoulders pattern, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's just keep watching through. What does it look like on the medium term? It looks like it is actually on a good uptrend. So you want to draw a channel on the daily chart. So let's look at the daily chart right now and see what we find on the daily chart. So what do we find on the weekly? That it's mostly in still the zone that it has to get out of this range in the $7 range. So look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 candles. 8 daily candles, 8 to 9, I would say almost 10 candles consistently green. This is rare. So you know it's going to take a break. At some point in time, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So it's either here or it might go to 8, but it has to go down a little bit to consolidate there and then try the back up. Very rarely do stocks just keep going one direction up. And this stock, if you look at the pattern in the March timeframe, did a little bit of a move up, did a little bit of a move down, consolidated. Then once it hits that, it tries to go up. So this actually looks like there's a multiple set of patterns that could emerge from here. But the most likely pattern that I can see, let's draw some trend lines in the daily chart. So on the double top, this looks like one trend line. And then this is the other trend line that I see. There you go. Or you could draw one that also from the absolute bottom to this trend line. That actually looks like a better trend line than this one. I'm going to get rid of this. So this looks like it is actually consolidating. I don't know if you can see it. This is what it looks like. It's going to have to consolidate at some point. So I would expect that maybe here in the 7 range, it might go up all the way to the 8 range. Those are the things I got to be prepared for. If it breaks through tomorrow after 719, 720, it's in play. And if it is 719, 720, you should expect it. What does the volume look like? High volume. On the daily, there's more than average volume. So this is a good sign. It's accumulating more than average volume. So I would expect that it should, if it goes above 710, 715, it takes it all the way to $8 and something like that. $8 and change would make it a 10% move just within this range. Or the other expectation, and this likelihood of this happening, I would probably put at about 40%. But 60% of the chances are that I would think that tomorrow, next few days, it should actually hit itself a little bit lower and try and get some kind of a support. Where would the new support be? So this is one possible support, which was the previous resistance. So one would hope at the 671 mark, it kind of makes a move down a little bit, consolidates a little bit, and then tries to move up again to the $8 mark. It has to break through this resistance zone in 720. So wait for a move from 708 to over 720, then it is in play. It could probably move all the way up to the $8 mark, or 60% of the chances it's going to fall a little bit over the next few days, depending on the market, consolidate down to maybe in the 655 zone. You buy it here, then it tries to make a move up back again. So this would be a good play at that point of time. Hope you guys enjoyed it. From a fundamentals perspective, we should have done that first. I usually do that. But from a fundamentals perspective, I did this before. This looks like actually a revenue flat company. So I'm not necessarily sure. This is the balance sheet. Let's go back to the income statement. Not necessarily sure why it's going up. It's mostly flat. So this is just after a long time of getting beaten up. This is a company doing about $1 billion in revenue, mostly flat revenue. On a quarterly basis, revenue seems to be mostly flat as well. Well, there's no good information available to be able to monitor what it's been doing. So it looks like it's mostly flat. The revenue is mostly flat, roughly about 50% gross margins, and it's losing money. It's losing about $1 million or so in the last quarter. And on an annualized basis, it's probably losing about 30 million from a profit. So not necessarily sure that this is going to be a stock I want to take a lot of position in, but it's a good trading stock. Watch for the move above the 7 range, 705, 710 range. See if it goes up. If it does, then it's got room to go up to 8. Otherwise, more likely, it's going to drop a little bit, consolidate. Watch for when it consolidates and where it bounces again. So it's got to do one of those one red flag, two red flags, try and get to 670 zone, and then try and make its move up again. Thank you guys for watching it. Hope you enjoyed it. Appreciate it very much.